To me, the story to get into this particular day, to start off this show, is some news that is percolating, and it's involving the quote-unquote trad wife, as it's short for traditional wives. Perfectly coiffed hair, a pinup dress, and a home-cooked meal on a dining room table. These images convey what a woman might look like being from the 1950s, a traditional housewife. A trad wife, again short for traditional wife, is described as a woman who prefers to take a traditional or ultra-traditional role in marriage, including the beliefs that a woman's place is in the home. Before I go any further, I want to put on my glasses because I want to make sure I'm not misquoted, because I'm reading. This is not me. This is not Stephen A. Smith talking. I'm just reading, okay? Okay, I'm just reading, but I just wanted to put this out there. These women known as trad wives, typically Christian conservatives, are here today and gaining attention on TikTok to the tune of nearly 187 million views. Many of their followers celebrate the lifestyle these women are aiming to showcase, but others worry they are idealizing a time when women enjoyed less autonomy and fewer rights than they have now, especially as we head into a heated election year. Asked what does it mean to be a trad wife? Not all trad wives are alike, according to S.D. Williams, a trad wife influencer on TikTok. In her eyes, trad wives are homemakers whose priority is cooking, cleaning, and being subservient to men. But such submission isn't degrading, she said. It's her choice. Quote, it doesn't mean you're below the man because if you think about it, it's a compliment. Williams says, the man, he needs that woman to be beside him, to motivate him, to be there for him. So what does marriage look like, according to Williams? Her husband, an electrician, must approve major purchases she makes, but it's not like she needs to check in with him for a pack of gum or coffee. They have a budget and try to stay within it. Why would I bring this subject up? Why would Stephen A. bring this subject up? Could y'all turn down that noise in my ear, please? It's important that I communicate with the people out there. I, myself, love an independent woman. I was raised by 5 women. I'm the youngest of 6 with 4 older sisters. My brother, God rest his soul, his name was Basil, died in a car accident. He was 9 years older than me. He was my big brother. He died in a car accident in 1992. God rest his soul. My 4 older sisters are still alive and thriving. My mother, God rest her soul, passed away in 2017 after a long bout with cancer. If you read my book, my best-selling book, Straight Shooter, it was a straight shooter published by Simon & Schuster, imprint 13, led by Charles Soot, good man, brother, big time. I have lamented on many, many occasions how I'm old-fashioned in certain respects. While I love an absolutely independent woman and believe a woman has the right to do what she wants to do, I'm a traditionalist as a man from the standpoint that I believe that a man should be the provider in his household. I believe that when others are hungry, it's because you're starving, that you lead, and that you make sure to exhaust every means and measure to ensure that others are taken care of before yourself, especially when it comes to your children. And if you choose to marry a woman, that is your responsibility to take care of her. That has been my position from day one, all my life. That doesn't mean I don't want a woman to have a career. It doesn't mean that I don't want her to be successful. It doesn't mean that I don't want her to have her money. It doesn't mean any of that. It means that I'm the man of the house, and it's my responsibility to provide. And she doesn't have that responsibility to provide. But she does have the responsibility to take care of house and home. Now, what does that mean? To some people, it's bills. I'm looking at my boy Jay and Gaff and all these brothers, and y'all got your own thing. I'm going to tell you what mine is. Everybody is entitled to their preferences and proclivities. Here's mine. If you can't cook, that's a problem for me. Now, I didn't say you have to cook. I'm not saying you got to cook. I'm not saying you got to cook 3 days a week, 5 days a week, every day of the week. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if you can't cook, if you choose not to cook most times, sure. But if I got to depend on me to cook, that's about 2.5 strikes against you. Because, see, I'm going to pay the bills. And I'm going to be tired. So when I get home, if I got to make my own sandwich or cook my own meals, so cool, that's fine. But I don't need to be married. Hell, I don't even need to have a girlfriend. What the hell I need that for? If I got to cook for myself every day, all day. Now, that's just my preference. That's just my preference. Other people have other preferences. I know a lot of the fellas, they don't want to hear that stuff about it's your responsibility to take care of the house and home. We going Dutch. That's ridiculous to me. Now, if you can't afford it, that's different. But you exhaust every means and measure to take care of your woman and damn sure to take care of your family. That is your responsibility. That is your responsibility. And I think we get it confused in this day and age because what happens is you've got folks out there and they talk about, well, why should a woman be at home slaving in the kitchen and taking care of house and home and leaving him to accept all the responsibilities? I want to do that. There's no problem with that. Not this way. Stephen A. ain't got no problems with you on that point. I'm good with that. I love the world that we're living in. I love the independence. I think women are brilliant. I was raised by 5 brilliant women. 5 strong black women that ain't backing down or bowing down to anybody. But all of them take care of house and home while doing so. All of them. There are, and that's where this conversation gets a bit dicey with the quote-unquote trad wives, as in traditional wives, because everybody's looking at it in the traditional family, and they're going back to the 1950s because they're saying we're trying to rewind the clock and take us back into a time where women didn't have the autonomy and the freedom that they have right now. I'm not saying that. I'm saying you should have those freedoms and you should have that level of autonomy. I'm just saying that while you have those things, if you have a good man who understands and embraces the responsibility that comes with having you as his woman, you should have no problem cooking a brother a meal from time to time. Just like he should have no problem paying the bills. And he should have no problem taking the pressure off of you. And he should have no problem in making sure that he provides for you in such a way that gives you the freedom to do those things that he may want, as well as doing the things you may want. See, where we got to really get into it. And I can't say the name The Love Doctor, but that's what I think about because Martin Lawrence is one of my all-time favorite comedians, and one of the greatest episodes that I've ever seen is when he was playing The Love Doctor in one episode when Tommy and Pam hooked up to one another. And he was like, now get on out of here, I'm the Love Doctor. Every piece of advice he gave it. I thought it was one of the most hilarious episodes I've ever seen in the history of comedy. It was ecstatic. You understand what I'm saying? It was really, really funny. But I can't take the name The Love Doctor, so I'm just going to be Stephen A. And I'm going to tell you this. All of this stuff and all of this conversation to some ladies out there, not all, not most, but some ladies out there, is your fault. Don't look at the fellas. It's your fault. See, we living in an age right now. Think about what we're dealing with. We've got women who are obviously independent, highly successful, and worthy of all the praise that they get, and in some cases making more money than men. So they're the breadwinners. We got folks from the gay community, the LGBTQ plus, was it IA? Is it A or IA? It's IA, right? Yeah, sorry. Don't know it by heart all the time. They have a preference not to have a man at all. And then now we living in an age where some men think they're women. Or say they're women, I'm sorry. They say they're women, they're not really a man. And some women believe they're men. So when you take all of those things into consideration, where does that leave a dude? A heterosexual dude, born that way, believes he's that way. DNA says he's that way. He embraces everything about manhood. Where does that leave him? Because everywhere you turn, tradition is going out of the window in the eyes of some people. Which is why the trad wives have come along and said, hello, we still exist. There's some of us that don't mind playing this role. Forced roles is entirely different than roles consensually embraced. Which brings us to the real question, what is a relationship? You know what a relationship is? Consensual agreement between both parties. Any man that tries to force a woman to be something that she doesn't want to be, to hell with him. He's wrong. But vice versa as well. I'm the kind of person that I am not offended when a woman is standing by her car door and is waiting for me to open it. Now, to me, 99% of the time, I'm going to do it. But that 1% of the time when you piss me off, or when we're in a real big rush and every second counts, I expect you to be able to open the door for yourself. It's rare, but you should be able to open the door for yourself. But 99% of the time, be that gentleman. Show that decorum, that behavior. When you take her out to dinner, if you can afford it, pay for it. Don't look for Dutch. You taking her out. That's how she deserves to be treated. This is what you're supposed to do. That's the way it goes. Most women we encounter fully accept that. Man takes you out, he's paying. Takes you out to the movies, takes you out to dinner, takes you on vacation, whatever, he's paying. Well, if you have the right to expect that, why can't he expect some traditional roles? Fair is fair. It's consensual. Nothing's forced. Nobody's compelled. Everybody understands their role. That's what the traditional wives, the trad wives, are saying. And I'm saying if that's all they mean, and they're not talking about something that's supposed to be forced, and they're not talking about how this is what you're supposed to be in society, they're just saying, excuse me, for those who choose to play that role, there's nothing wrong with it. If that's all they're saying, I challenge a woman to argue at that point. But amongst each others, men are chilling. We understand. Because let me tell y'all a little secret, ladies. Most men are not going to argue with you about what you don't want to be. If they have a preference and you choose not to be that preference, they're going to go elsewhere. Period. Just like you'd go elsewhere if he doesn't want to play whatever role you want him to play, whatever that role may be, period. But the only reason I led with this story is because I found it very, very interesting that trad wives are resonating on TikTok in the tune of 187 million views. These are women. This is not men. These are women saying, yo, it's too much of this other stuff out there. Let us remind you of what we believe a woman should be to her man. I don't think there's anything to complain about. If you a dude, this is music to your ears. Simply because it's an age-old option, but an option nevertheless. Some men may embrace it, some men may not. But the point is women essentially calling out other women. You can't call that misogyny. You can't call that anything else either, but a debate amongst yourselves. Enjoy. I'll be watching. Moving on.